Morning, Scott.
Morning.
Could we start with any injury team news that you might have from maybe the last couple of games or anything in training?
Injury, no. I think we're pretty clean, really, in that sense. Josh on the grass, so we'll see where that is a little bit closer to game. Long-term injuries, again, are where they are. They are progressing forward, but nothing fresh in that sense.
Has it been a stressful week?
It's not been a stressful week. It's obviously there's been some challenges, of course there has, probably not just this week. There's been some challenges the last couple of weeks, but this is the chair you sit in, and sometimes football is that it can bring different challenges. Of course it can, and there's always a team that have come out the Premier League and a transfer window was open. There's different dynamics that you sometimes face in these moments, and certainly we faced quite a few over the last few weeks.
It was always pretty clear, Scott, when you came in, there was a lot of players here for you to work with, and you expected it to be trimmed. Did you expect the size of the trimming that's continuing at this moment in time?
Well, look, yeah, I think it was very clear. I've been in this situation before, probably similarities to when I was at Fulham. Maybe not as many go in, and yeah, there's probably elements of that. Obviously, a lot of players have left, and that's due to one reason or another, and I wouldn't really want to go into detail regarding that. But there's loads of factors and loads of reasons why some have left, and that's very key to understand, really. So at this present moment in time, like I said, I'm someone that, of course, there's challenges, but we can look forward. There's 48 hours left of a transfer window, and everyone in their power at the football club is working tirelessly. You don't have to step in that building. It seems like this building is alive constantly, 24 hours a day, of people trying their hardest to try and bring players in, and obviously the dynamics of maybe players leaving as well. So everyone with goodwill is trying their best they can.
I know back in the day when you were a player, and if someone wanted to leave, they might go and see the manager. Does that still happen these days, Scott? Or is it very different these days that there's agents and directors of football involved, and really you might not find out when you might have done in the past? Yeah,
it's very different. Yeah, it's very different now. Of course, players express in certain moments if they don't want to be here, but of course it is very, very different. And at the end of the day, there's different dynamics to it as well. Ultimately, a player wants to leave, but there's a valuation on that player as well. This is not just as simple as someone wanting to leave the club. You can express a view that you want to leave a football club, but ultimately as well, at that moment in time, the club hold a value on you. It's not just as easy as that. There's two parts to this moving piece. And of course, at times, there's been battles with that. But yeah, to answer your question, it is different now. There's a lot more voices around professional footballers, a lot more advice, some good advice, some not so good, and some decisions what certain people make are obviously, I believe, are probably not correct. But I suppose that's in general life, really. These are the factors you have to play.
If a player did want to leave, Scott, and ended up not doing by Friday night at 11 o'clock, do they come into your thinking straight away, or because they might not have a desire to be here, does it make it difficult?
I suppose it just depends on where the player's mindset is. Every week we play a football match, there's one fundamental thing that you want, and that's to win the game. So you put in the best players on there who are technically the best, but large parts, as me sitting in this chair as a manager, that probably comes secondary to the will to want to play for the football club, to want to represent the football club and try their utmost to try and get 3 points for this club and the fan base, really. So I suppose ultimately that depends on where their headspace is, or one's headspace at that moment in time. And I go back to it. A player can express, any player at any football club, and this is not just here, this will be happening at loads of football clubs. You can express your desire to leave. But like I said, there's also another side to that, which is the football club as well. If that price is not met, or there isn't a deal to be done, then it is what it is.
Has been a lot of players mentioned, that the likes of Vitinho, Weghorst, Amdouni. Can you bring us the latest where they are? Are they here training, or are they highly likely to be moving on and not part of it now?
The three players you mentioned are probably likely to be moving on from the football club. So them three will probably be moving on.
In terms of replacing them, if all three go through and the players that have left already, how much business in an ideal world would you like to see done between now and 11 o'clock Friday night?
Yeah, we'd like to try and we need to do some business. Obviously, we're very light at this present moment in time. I think you can obviously see that in the squad, and certainly you probably could see that from last night's game as well, in terms of players playing out of position just in certain moments just to fill positions. You know, a midweek game at this present moment in time was probably not ideal for us in terms of just where we are with our squad, and with a game such a quick turnaround as well, we needed to try and manage and balance that. But I revert back to what I said. Look, everyone understands that, and everyone is trying their hardest to bring players in. Of course, that the clock is ticking on us, and we need to try and do some business in the next coming days. Really.
I promised to ask you about the game in a moment. James Trafford, where's his future lie? Do you know?
At the moment, James is here. So yeah, he's part of this squad. I believe it's the right place for him. Exceptional keeper, which I'm looking forward to working with, and with the keeping staff as well. Looking forward to that as well. So he's a fundamental part of this squad, and we look forward to working with him.
I know the transfer window closes really to fall in line with the rest of Europe, but you've been playing the best part of a month now, and your squad is going to be so different by the first game in September, Scott. How unsettling is it for the whole of English football, this? And there was one season, I think, a few years ago, that the window did close before the first game, and it seemed that everyone was kind of happier with that.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, I don't really understand the dynamics of the transfer window in that sense, how you leave it open 3-4 games into a season. Pre-season takes place, you have 6 to 8 weeks with a group of players, and again, I'm not referencing myself, I'm referencing every manager out there. You put in work, you do a lot of detailed work to the team you want to be in terms of that, and within 2-3 weeks going into the season, that can drastically change, and that's probably what's happened here a little bit. You're working with players and working on things, and obviously then players leave the club, like many other teams as well. So yeah, again, I don't think it's ideal. I don't really understand it either. We have the best part of a summer window, which is long enough as it is. So, but it is what it is, and they're the rules. So we work to them rules, and we understand them rules, and understand that sometimes it goes against you in certain ways, and it comes for you in certain ways.
When it's been a challenging week for yourselves and the supporters, Scott, is this fixture pretty much the best one you can get to bring everyone together, and a full house at Turf Moor and a great atmosphere?
Definitely is, yeah, for sure. Like you said, it's been a tough week, but no better game to end this week and go into an international break with a derby game, which we've got this weekend. So as always, like I've said, this is a massive game for us. It's a massive game for us, even if it wasn't a derby. What derby brings, I've been involved in many of them as a player and coaching in them. It brings an added intensity, of course it does, and certainly a more raw emotion from a fan base, and a raw emotion from everyone at the club. And we need to represent that emotion on the pitch this weekend. We need to bring a certain ingredient to this game, which is going to be needed. And of course, there's a tactical element, and there's a technical element to this football match, which will be defining. The most important thing is representing what this game means to one fan base, really, and being under no illusions that what we need to bring here.
From your experience, how different are derby days more than anything else?
Very different, very, very different. The build up to derby games is you understand them. You start understanding it very, very early. As a coach, trying to give over that information as well, and putting some sighters in for the players that to understand how important this is in that sense. So yeah, there's no denying. Like I said, every game is important, but I'm not going to sit here and lie when it comes to a derby. And like I said, I've been involved in them. There's always that little bit more.
Did you love them as a player?
Yeah, I absolutely loved them. Yeah, and obviously I played in many derbies for different teams. And the one thing I will say is that whatever shirt I pulled on, whatever club I was managing, it meant everything to me in that sense. At that moment in time, I was representing the badge, what was on my chest, and I quickly understood and recognised what exactly it meant, and I fell into that position instantly. This weekend will be no different. At this present moment in time, I sit in this chair and I represent this football club, and like I said, I'll take this game on for exactly what it is and what it means to everyone at this club. And every one of these players what are here at this present moment in time want to be here, and they're fighting for this club. They're all on board with everything, along with myself in that sense. We'll go out there at the weekend and represent what we need to represent, and hopefully go and get 3 points.
Having played in North London once and one's in the North East as well, Scott, you know what rivalries are like. These two sets of fans don't like each other very much. Is that normal in derby atmospheres, or is this one going to be, it's a new experience of course, but I'm told this is one of the most fierce in terms of a general dislike for each other. Yeah,
I've experienced that, and no doubt there is. Look, there needs to be a level of composure, and certainly on the pitch as well, for us, because while of course we want some raw emotion and we want intensity about our game, we need to play with clear heads as well in them moments. And of course the fan base, and I understand the rivalry, what comes with that, and I've experienced that before at different clubs. We're going to need every bit of our fan base this weekend, and certainly from where we've been, certainly how the last couple of weeks have been as well. These boys will go out there and represent this football club this weekend. They're going to need every bit of them. We're going to need their support, a constant reference, a real, in certain moments and in certain football matches, and the weekend will be no different. In certain times, there's times when you need someone with you and supporting you in certain moments, and for sure this is going to be this weekend. We're going to need them throughout this season, but if ever there was a time this weekend, we're going to need a fan base right behind us, supporting us, giving these boys every bit of energy which we need in certain moments, and they will be the difference. And I'm not just saying that because I'm sitting in a press conference to you, and there's a camera. The defining factor in certain moments this year will be this fan base. They need to be our 12th man. They need to be our driver. And I have no doubt at the weekend that will be definitely the case.
Just finally from me, from what you've seen of Blackburn Rovers, it's very early days. What have you made of their start?
Yeah, they're a good side. Got some good individual players. Obviously, manager's done a good job there in that sense. So look, there's a tough challenge that we face here. Of course there is, and I'll probably be referencing that most weeks. This is a tough league with certain individuals and certain talents which can cause teams problems. So we need to prep and be ready for the issues they'll bring us. And likewise on the flip side, we can really hurt this team and show our dominance as well.